Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on Episode 5 of Outlaw Star. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So last we left off, Jean and the crew found the Outlaw Star, which had been hitherto unnamed. Unfortunately, they were pursued, and in the process of escaping, Hilda opted to sacrifice herself to take some of the Tau pirates with her. Now, it seems as though we're getting the backstory of Eijitan here, the Katarl bridge officer. It seems as though her life had been good up until a point, and it's been on a downward slope ever since, with her recent demotion being only the most recent thing that's gone wrong for her. So I can't help but thinking, now that the crew has the Outlaw Star, these previous few episodes have been something of a prologue, and now the serious business can begin. Alright, so this is interesting, you know. Jean's gone back, and I guess, yeah, this is interesting. Now that they've got like a new tricked out ship and Hilda's not around, you know, I don't know if the powers that be at Blue Heaven are going to be too happy about things, because it seemed like Hilda was their main contact. Alright, well, I take that back. You know, they're sad, understandably so, but they don't hold it against Jean. I guess the big question is, you know, what next? Naturally, we know it's probably involving Melfina and the Galactic Ley Line, but beyond that, you know, it's all still something of a mystery. Ooh. So things are bumpy, I guess. Jean's gonna have to take everything on credit in order to get registration numbers and painting his ship. Yeah, things are gonna be rough, I think. At least, some of the people at Blue Heaven have the good sense to trust Jean based on Hilda's reputation. Oh, wow. They're really pushing their luck here. Yeah. Well, I guess if they don't have any weapons or armaments here, then, yeah, I don't know. It's not a real good idea to roam around space unarmed, I reckon. So it seems like Jean's kind of barking up the wrong tree, asking about the McDougalls and stuff like that. Because based on everything we've learned so far, the McDougalls certainly seem to be unsavory characters. You know, they're willing to do whatever anyone will pay them to do, but it really seems like they're also not above backstabbing people either, you know. They really do seem like they are more trouble than they're worth to get involved with. Alright, that's interesting. You know, the McDougalls, these very renowned bounty hunters or mercenaries for hire, you know, they cover their tracks, so not much is known. Alright, so I guess this is how Aisha Clan factors into things. You know, the idea is that the Katarl might know something, and that she was from that ship. Unfortunately for Jean, I don't think Aisha's gonna be, open to talking, you know? Like, she did seem to be a rather bellicose individual, but, you know, if she was bellicose before, then I kind of shudder to think what things are going to be like now, seeing as how she had been demoted and essentially grounded. Oh, okay. So on the one hand, I feel like maybe Jim should, like, stop poking at the recent wound here. But on the other hand, Jean's saying, like, look, she shouldn't feel sad about anything, like, I mean, I don't know about that. I feel like you should feel a little sad if you watch someone die. At the same time, you know, Hilda was sort of like more of an acquaintance than a friend or anything, you know, so you can feel bad, but like, there's a limit, right? I mean, I feel like if anyone should feel bad, it would be Jim and Jean, seeing as how they were slightly more involved. So once again, we're just sort of reinforcing the mystery here. Melfina literally doesn't remember a single thing before she woke up, so presumably when she does, then that'll be worthwhile, I guess. It might point the crew in the right direction. Ooh. Okay, so it seems like Melfina does know something. At least as far as it pertains to the ship. You know, that is interesting, and something I don't think has been really touched upon, that Melfina has something of an inherent rapport with the ship, and that she's sort of inherently able to control it in a way that would probably be more reminiscent of like a navigation computer. So Aisha has decided to waylay the group, but unfortunately for her, Hilda is no longer around, so it's kind of unfortunate. Well, you know, the good news is that they don't have to look for Aisha too much, you know, she sought them out. Although, unfortunately, she's probably not likely willing to share information. Oh, okay. You know, I thought Jim was kind of dancing around the topic that, you know, Hilda was deceased, but he just kind of comes out with it. Like, yeah, she's dead. See you later. Alright, so once again, the galactic leyline comes up, and particularly in relationship to Hilda, so that's, remarkably interesting. Yeah, you know, I recognize that Aisha's not well disposed towards them, but I feel like maybe they could be, a bit more compassionate with the poor cat. Oh dear, so things are getting serious for real. Like, it's not nothing to kick someone over like that and to shatter what is presumably concrete. So I feel like if Jean and everyone else are going to get out of this unscathed, they're going to have to take some real serious action quickly. It is kind of unfortunate for Jean and the others that a whip is so powerful as to do something like that. It's kind of an interesting weapon to use in the first place, just because, with a whip, you only have so much control over where it goes. You kind of have to be careful so as not to injure yourself as well as unintended targets. Unfortunately for Jean and the others, it seems like the whip isn't Aisha Clan's main weapon here. It seems like, it's her own musculature that she relies on the most. Oh dear. So unfortunately, Jim knows all this information, but only right as soon as it becomes relevant here. It might have been good if he had sort of led with the idea that Katarl can change their physiology. Oh dear. Aisha Clan, she was considered to be, competent, but I guess in accordance with the beginning of the episode, I think I can see why her career and personal standing is in decline here. If, her physiology relies on there being a moon, and this space station doesn't have a moon, then, what use is even starting to instigate things? Now, it seems to me that Jim got off kind of easy, Aisha opting to ignore him. But Jim is being tasked essentially with finding caster shells, those little, bound spells within bullets that Jean uses for his special gun. It seems to me that based on their very nature, that sort of thing is going to be hard to find at the best of times. Now, unfortunately, even if Aisha is not as physically dominant as she would have liked to be, given her ability to transform, it's unfortunate for Jean that just seeing the empty void of space is enough to sort of, turn his stomach here. I mean, he's thinking, boy, this sucks, I'm probably never gonna get over this, but, look, it's been, a couple days? I feel like you kinda have to give it time to get over something like that. Oh dear. So here Melfina goes, noticing these artificial flowers and thinking wow, that's kind of like me. I get it. It's kind of unfortunate to have been made without knowing one's purpose, but I don't know. Maybe being chased by a crazed catgirl is not the time to start having existential dread. I feel like in accordance with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, first you have to achieve safety and then you can achieve self-actualization. But without safety, anything above that will just sort of crumble. Oh, so Melfina's fallen for the classic blunder. I bet Hilda knows my purpose, but now she's dead. I mean, Melfina doesn't have a whole lot of experience, so she hasn't quite realized yet that people don't know their true purposes, natural-born people, and as an artificial person, lacking knowledge of her purpose really makes her more human than anything else when you get down to it. And it's nice that Jean's reassuring her, saying look, we can figure this sort of thing out, we're friends and all that, but at the same time, it kind of is the blind leading the blind, I mean, I suspect Jean would have something approaching a purpose, or at least he would have an answer to the question were it posed to him. But at the same time, how can anyone truly say they know what their purpose is? Because, the question takes a lot of assumptions, Like, purpose assumes that, well, it kind of assumes you were made. And, depending on how things go, if life is truly just a big cosmic accident or coincidence, then there is no purpose after all. But at the same time, that just means the purpose is whatever you make it to be, Oh dear. So, Gene tempted fate, I guess. He just sort of assumed he gave Aisha the slip, and once he told Jim that, lo and behold, she caught up. Now, it is kind of unfortunate that Aisha seems about as strong as Gene, just as she is normally, albeit not quite as cunning or battle-hardened. Wow. That's certainly something if her sheer skin was able to break a knife. And not because, the knife was, thrust into her and snapped. Alright, well, I guess Aisha's made the classic mistake again. No moon, she can't transform. Oh. Okay, she's running on, early Dragon Ball Goku rules. She can't do anything if she's hungry. Although, for people who are broke, as Gene and Jim are, they seem to be making the rookie mistake of footing the bill here. Because, I could understand Aisha having a remarkable appetite, but at the same time, I don't know, I wouldn't be nearly as willing as they are. Oh dear. I mean, Jim's concerned about, or Gene rather, is concerned about Aisha eating their food, but I feel like you should be far more concerned about being, forced to wash dishes to pay off the tab. Yeah, I feel like if Gene and Jim are smart here, they're gonna sort of leave and stick Aisha with the bill. Well, maybe they have plausible deniability on their part. Aisha's ordering more food, enough to serve 4 additional people, and she's keeping it all to herself, so, maybe if they call for separate checks, they can get out of here reasonably financially unscathed. Oh. Yeah, Gene made a mistake here by offering to buy dinner. So, judging by her posture, Aisha seems to be willing to continue the fight after this. Ooh. So Gene's learning the hard way that these Kataral are mercurial creatures. So, it seems like she's finally coming around to the idea that Gene might not actually know anything. Now would be a good time for, the waiter to bring the bill by. Sort of save the main characters and all that. I do find it interesting that Gene's still trying to work the angle of, look, I bought you food, shouldn't you feel some degree of gratitude? Oh dear. So it seems like Jim actually did find a caster shell. Number 12. We don't know quite what that means, but I don't know. I'm willing to believe that it packs a pretty heavy punch. Well, I guess it did, a slightly smaller boom than I had expected, but it certainly did enough to knock Aisha out of it. Ooh. Oh, Gene, you rat, sticking her with the bill explicitly. Yeah, I imagine she's gonna be washing dishes for a while. So it seems like the Outlaw Star has been painted and outfitted properly. I guess Jean's gonna start heading out for space unknown, but I feel like Aisha's not gonna give up the chase. She might be stuck temporarily, but something tells me she's not gonna forgive or forget this. So that's the $1 million question, I guess. Where's Jean gonna go? And he says back to Sentinel-3. That's where he had been, but I don't know. I don't know what he expects to find, necessarily. Alright. So it's nice that the crew of the Blue Heaven give Jean some good information here, like watch out for pirates in these places here and there. But, oh dear. So, Jean has a weapons broker he knows, but Jim is unwilling to contact the guy. Yeah, It seems like he's kind of an unsavory character, but, Jean's willing to vouch for the guy. I don't know what to make of this, because, it seems like sensible people on both sides claim this guy is either trustworthy or untrustworthy. Well, I guess that's it then. The crew of the Outlaw Star is heading out for Sentinel-3, and they are notably not pursued by an angry cat girl, so I guess life is good until they encounter that weapons dealer. I guess things might get interesting there. I mean, with a name like Fred Lowe, that seems to be like a Chinese surname to me. Oh dear. I think I know where this is going, and Jim's in for a rough go of things, I reckon. Oh, Jean knows what he's doing, the rat. Oh, here we go. Meanwhile, Aisha Clan's just washing dishes. Man, truly, this is beneath the dignity of her station. So the only question is, how many dishes is she going to break? Surely that would only increase her bill, right? Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.